Guys, please give me 10 minutes of your time. Raidian is going to be one of my new favorite operators in the game. I'm going to give you 10 reasons why I like her so much. Hopefully it's 10 reasons because I have nothing written on my phone. I'm just going to wing it. Still, give me the chance to be a fanboy for Raidian. You guys can be fanboys and girls together with me. Without further ado, let's get started. First off, look at her chibi. It is so damn cute. Why wouldn't you want this unit in your account? I need to actually start by telling you guys that she is going to be absolutely free. You don't have to do any gacha, there's no recruitment. I'll explain to you how you can obtain her. And it's obtainable at any point in time as well. She's not coming into the global server just yet. She will appear in the global server 6 months after posting this video. So until then, we shall keep hyping her up. So let's take a look at her E2 art. And my goodness, it is Aslink's most glorious work. It is just absolutely beautiful. I love the dark color scheme and I like the thematicness of the arcade vibe, right? You can see the insert coins on the top, the score points, your lives, and then you have the enemies, the fishes, the little spaceship looking thing at the top, and then you have Doctor on the bottom. Why is he just staring upwards just like that? No idea, but you can think of him like a player in the arcade game, and that's why he's doing that. It is absolutely glorious, one of my favorites within the game, and of course, a lot of this will remind you of Space Invaders, right? The idea that you have to shoot down all these enemies, you're gonna see that quite a bit later on when you look at the skills. So, this is the promotional picture. This is her E1 that you're staring at right now, and we will review her talents and her skills. These are all written in Chinese, so let's get the translations for them. Now, for the first talent, it just states that the summons can be used in a way that the abilities will change upon the skill. So, it's very similar to the talent of Ling, where the dragons change the way that they attack, and then Magalan as well. So it's quite a normal talent basically. The second talent is a stat stick talent. So summons gain inspiration equal to a portion of Raidian's max HP, attack, and defense. So if the max HP, attack, and defense of Radiant goes up, then they will also receive a portion of that boost. It's not about healing. Don't confuse inspiration with healing that you see in like Skadi, Outer, and Sora. This is just stat buff. So nothing much too interesting about it. Now, on her first skill, it states that the summons can be deployed on low ground tiles. And Radiant and the summons will gain a barrier with increased defense when the skill is activated and then obtain a summon. You probably won't use this skill all that much, but it's quite cool to look at it, where you can see this rainbow octopus just having that shield around them, that's the barrier, and then it's just a lot of blockers. It's cool, but it's not going to be the bread and butter skill. In fact, there are two bread and butter skills, meaning skills that you use often, and that will be on skill 2 and 3. So now onto her skill 2. Her skill 2 actually states that the summons can be deployed on low ground tiles and will continuously release projectiles straight ahead. So the idea of continuously releasing is very much similar to Fear Meta skill 3, where the artillery will keep basically bombarding a certain area. In this case, the summons will keep attacking in a straight line way. Then, Radiant and the summons will gain increased attack when you activate her skill. And the summons will have 2 extra projectiles, so they will be shooting 3 bullets basically. These are all single target, there is no AoE effect to it, but it can be quite powerful. And then obtain 1 summon when the skill is activated. I believe this is going to be physical damage of a skill. It could be arts, but it's not quite mentioned as of now, so we'll see it when it appears. But this is what it looks like. So you have 5 rainbow fishes. So in this case, they deploy her in 3 lanes, and you can see them bombarding that 3 bullets onto the enemies. It's really cool looking. I'm already very impressed with the effects that they've done for this particular unit, so I look forward to using it. You will definitely see yourself using this skill very often if you're going to main Radiant, but let's take a look at her in a face-off note in IS, right? First things that I have to say, that fish holds a gun, and that is amazing. Who told the fish to do a crime? Whatever that is, I want it. Give it all, alright? So, she's got the fish deployed down over there, and you can see the fish in that sort of straight line. She's using the skill, Kaboom! Elimination! Pretty darn good of an ability. And there is a special IS showcase that is being placed onto YouTube. You see some people reposting it. You can see a lot of that skill 2 gameplay for yourselves. Then, we're gonna look at skill 3 as well. Now, skill 3 is not about low ground tiles. Now, the summons are on high ground tiles. If there's no enemies in the summon range, but another summon with an enemy within its range, the summon will attack in tandem. So the idea of this is that if the summons are side by side with each other, they will actually attack an enemy together. So they will share the range basically only if they are connected. You think of this in the same way of the towers that you find in Mariano, which I'll show in just a little bit. But I am reminded of a very nostalgic thing to my childhood, which I'll talk about in just a bit. When you activate her skills, the summons will gain increased attack, and their attacks can inflict slow, which is amazing, and arts fragility. So the showcase actually puts that it's 35% arts fragility, which is probably one of the highest in the game. I believe the highest right now might be Reed Outer with 30%, but now we have just one-upped it by a 35%. And then obtain a summon when the skill is activated. So this is that third skill. It's this UFO airplane looking thing, whatever that you might want to call it. So you can see how the tower on the top doesn't exactly attack the enemy. However, when this second summon has been placed, because this tower is facing the one on the bottom and this one's facing the one on the right, and then after this one's facing an enemy, only when they are all facing in each other's range will they be connected, and that will actually increase the attack. Basically, this is 3 towers shooting at one enemy, which is quite cool. It allows you to basically go across into other lanes. Like, this might not be an ideal placement because this feels like any other summoner, but you might find situations that you can actually extend the range so heavily to make the towers super useful. So I love this ability so much, simply because this is the one ability that's making me love Raidian, alright? This might remind you of the towers, as we mentioned in Mariano, but this is what it should be, alright? My Raid Alert fans, you guys, this is your childhood recollection. I love the Prism Tower, and I like that it's in AK. Give it all to me. I will stack all these Prism Towers. I will make the glorious Tesla Bonanza. This is my biggest take for why I like Raidian. But anyways, how do you actually obtain Raidian now that you've seen it? So, there is IS-6 that is going to be coming into CN server. We'll only get this 6 months from now. And the way to obtain her is a first of a kind. So, first off, you will get the copy of Raidian immediately at the level 1 battle pass. So that is super easy to do. You just complete one stage, you exit, you're probably gonna get the first reward. But you only obtain her at level 1. The difference as to how you build Raidian compared to other units is that Raidian doesn't use EXP, LMD, building materials, promotion chips, none of that. Instead, there is a special page within the IS screen where you will actually be building her by playing IS. So when you clear your normal runs and you gain the points, those points are also contributed towards building Raidian. So she will naturally level up the more you play IS. But if you want to speed it up even more, they also have weekly EXP missions. So every week, if you complete those missions, you can actually speed up the progress of leveling her. However, at break points, so for example, you're trying to promote her from E1 to E2, E0 to E1, you're trying to get masteries for a skill, you want to do your modules, again, you don't need materials. However, the game will need you to complete objectives that are specific to IS. So it might need you to enter a certain node, clear a certain stage, then you unlock the criteria in order to promote her, get her module and whatsoever. So again, very, very new way, but zero resource spending, alright? And you can use her outside of IS. She is busted in IS, which I'll explain in a bit, but you can use her externally as well. So it's really cool that they're introducing this. I know those people who don't like IS are gonna be like, no, I have to play IS now for this unit. I think IS-6 might be one of the better ISs to come. IS-5 has already been amazing, but after seeing the IS-6 gameplays and so much new mechanics that are actually really fun to interact with, I think a lot of you can fall in love with IS-6, alright? But until then, if we take a look at the promotion for her. Now, when you have her at Elite 1, and you use her in IS-6, what this ability writes is that for every floor, they will gain a new ability for Raidian. So in this case, on the next floor, the first ability is that the deployment cost of her summons decrease, which is pretty good. Then, on the next IS floor that you reach, the amount of deployable summons will increase. So originally you can only deploy up to 3, but now you can deploy up to 5. Then, on the next floor again, she now gains the ability of ASPD increase for her summons. And then, after that, on another higher floor, which is either going to be floor 5 or 6, depending on where you get her, the deployments will no longer take any deployment slot. More like the summons will not take any deployment limit. So you can freely deploy, max out all the 5 onto the map, which I think is crazy of an experience. It's just like how you will use Tin Man a lot in IS-5, now Raidian might appear a lot in your team just because of how good she is. And Just like Tin Man, she also has interactions with the mechanics. I will not explain too much because you guys have not seen IS6, most of you, but she does things like increase the inventory of the recruitment ticket when you E2 her. She gives you free objective shields when you E2 her. She gives you free candles. Don't have to explain candles for now. When you play IS6, you'll figure out what candles do. And then she can open up an extra node in the boss key passage, which you'll find out when you play the game mode, basically. But bastard unit, straight up. And the crazy thing as well is that the hope cost to recruit her in IS6 is 2 cost. So it costs 2 hope to recruit, it costs 1 hope to promote. And that's very cheap for a 6-star. If you haven't realized yet, this is a 6-star unit, which I think is crazy that we're getting this powerful 6-star unit. So in this case, we're looking at what I believe is floor 2 or 3 of a gameplay. So you can see she's using skill 2. Again, those fishes are constantly attacking. And then later on, she's placing a 4th fish, and there is the ability to place a 5th fish as well, which I think that's just really good and powerful. And those fishes block also, by the way. They have 2 block count, and that can be very helpful for you. So amazing, amazing unit. I think it's just so good that we can get her. She does also have an IS specialized mod that exists, where basically the deployment cost will decrease when you give her the level 3 or level 2 module. And then, if the summons are retreated or defeated, it will gain SP for Raidian. So the summons dying is actually considered an okay thing because it allows her skill to pop up more, and then that also allows her to recharge the summons because she gains a summon every time you activate the skill. Overall, so damn good. I don't think she's just going to be only usable within IS. I think even outside of IS, you will find abilities to use her as well. You know, the IS mod is crazy because it also gives her 5 additional summons. So she can hold a maximum of 10, which is the most in the game. Unfortunately, it won't be 10. In the normal gameplay, it will just be 5. But still, pretty damn good. The fact that she's a welfare unit, I think it's going to be insane for a lot of the newer players since it's so easy to get her and level her up. And like, I think she's going to clear a lot of the early and mid-game content as literally a soloist. Just like how a lot of people might say, use only Link. You can use only Raidian now. She seems pretty decent to do just that. I would also mention that there is a slight bit of controversy when it comes to the idea of building Raidian, which some of the CN players have highlighted. In order to build Raidian, you actually go by your playtime in IS6, right? As a result, you will get her at level 90, max masteries and everything. So for the people who only put her at, sorry, not her, but for the people who only put units at level 69 because you feel like it, at level 70 because you feel like it, you don't ever do level 90, she might end up being your first level 90 unit. And that feels like it's going to ruin some accounts, so some people don't like that they don't have control over how they level her up. Maybe there is control because she's not out yet, we're not actually sure. But if there isn't control, if she just scales with your IS runs, then it would bother some people. But even so, I'm just happy. We actually have another fantastic welfare unit. Right after Tin Man, right after Rose Salt, here's a 6-star that you guys can opt in. So honestly, amazing stuff. I'm a big fan. I can't wait for Raidian to come into global server, and I hope you guys are looking forward to her as well. That's all that I'll say for this video, and thank you for your time. I didn't take 10 minutes. That was crap.